I don't know if I can read this. This is so... I don't even know if this could go in the video. He gulped and whispered to me, I love you. Hi, my name's Kenna, and welcome back to the 2020 debut. 2020? Welcome to the 2024 season debut of Me Talking Crossover. To my Kens, how has the new year been? Sorry I disappeared for 2 months. The new year wiped me out. Like, I'm pretty sure 2024 did not want me to come with it. So I hope you guys have been having a better year and also staying healthy out there. Okay, so first order of business, if you have never read or watched the Percy Jackson series, you don't need to watch this video. There's gonna be no spoilers. What I'm about to read to you has no relevance to the plot of Percy Jackson at all. Okay, hi, editing McKenna. I did not give a concise explanation about why I have gathered you all here today. I think I just got really embarrassed admitting it, and I started rambling. But essentially, when I was like 13, I wrote a self-insert fanfic about me and Percy Jackson.
You're half mortal, half god.
My father's Poseidon.
Now, you might be thinking, Kenna, aren't you gay? You talk about it all the time. I didn't know I was gay back then, but as you're gonna see in this fanfiction, the signs were there. I was so convinced that if I was in the Percy Jackson world, he would not be getting with his cousin. Annabeth who? Because her mom's Athena, and owls are representative of Athena. Okay, so I wrote about it. Basically, what you need to know about it is it's an alternative universe where Percy has lost all his memories, and I'm there. And that's really all you need to know about this. Let's get into it. Chapter 1, We Get in Trouble by Bouncing Broccoli. Author's note. I guess I should clarify a bit if you're confused. Mackenzie and Percy have never actually been friends. What they have is just fake memories. Get it? Actually, it's not a self-insert. You see, her name is Mackenzie, and my name is Kenna. Two totally different names there. Oh, and Mackenzie is not a half-blood. I really think it's funny that instead of, I don't know, giving myself cool powers, I was just like, I'm gonna be immortal. I'm gonna be a plain old human being. I'm not like other girls. Please do not suggest Percy is out of character, because he is, but that's because his mind is filled with different memories, so he's not going to be the same. Yeah, you know it's gonna be a good story when the author starts off by immediately apologizing that the titular character is gonna be out of character. The thing is, I did not know how to write Percy, so this was kind of my cover. If I just remove if I lobotomize, nobody can say he's out of character. If you don't have your memories, you're basically a blank slate. I was squished between Nosepicker Nancy and Smelly Sam on an hour trip to a place I envied. School. Right off the bat, we have a word used wrongly. I think I was trying to say to a place I hated, but I looked up a synonym and I used envied, which makes no sense. You envy school for what? Having a consistent schedule? Adults that care about your well-being? Those pizza cheese dippers. I've been thinking about them since I left school. My mom had once again managed to stuff me in another school, miles and miles away on an island in New York. The bus was headed toward Death Valley, practically, because you know New York, it's famous for its deserts. In fact, New York is notorious for not getting enough water. We were surrounded by nothing but sand, dust, and a few pebbles. I felt heat seeping through the windows. This is not New York. That bus driver was not paying attention, and he drove them all the way to California. Finally, after Sam decided to pass gas on my face, and Nancy, well, flung a little gift at me, I had had enough. I flipped to Percy. Percy had been my friend since the 2nd grade. I really do love the gods who took Percy's memories from him. We're not gonna be like, oh, they all just met for the first time. No, they decided to make a lifelong friendship. They had no reason to be scripting out their life like that. It's for the drama. He was sitting by only Jared, so I figured I could bunk with them. Percy, I whisper yelled. Percy! He looked at me and I mouthed, extra seat. He looked at my seatmates as if it were dawning on him who I was sitting by and nodded. Well, firstly, I want to say if we were friends since the 2nd grade, why am I not sitting with him? If he has an extra seat, wouldn't he be like, hey, do you want to sit by us? Instead, he's like, ooh, bad situation you got over there. Jeez, Percy said, looking out the window. Where are we? Texas? You could be. You could be anywhere. More like Death Valley, I mumbled. I guess that was such a funny joke. I had to repeat it out loud. I thought it, and then I was like, I'm gonna say this to Percy. When the bus finally landed? Were they up in the air? This is the magic school bus. The kids quickly emptied out. I got out and followed them as we evacuated to the lunchroom. Another wrong word, evacuated. That makes it, was it a crash landing? My stomach made a giant rumble as I rushed in line. When I got there, the lunch lady slammed a cheese dipper and some broccoli. See, I told you, I think about those cheese dippers all the time. Even in this story, I was like, what's a good lunch meal? Cheese dippers. I grabbed an empty spot by Percy. Jared was bouncing the broccoli up and down. Once it slammed onto the table, it would fling back up in the air. Yes, that is what bouncing is, typically. Gosh, it's made out of like rubber. Should I fling it at Nancy? I took his bouncy broccoli away. Honestly, Jared, I don't feel like being in trouble on the first day. He shrugged. Fine then, I'll get in trouble tomorrow. At least these lunches are edible, Percy said, munching on his cheese dipper. I meant dipper. Except the broccoli, he finished, chucking his broccoli into the garbage. Must have hit the bottom pretty hard because it bounced back and flew through the air. Flying, smack! I winced as I saw who just got slammed by the broccoli. Lucky hit, Jared squeaked as he fled the table. Oh, lucky hit! Well, there goes your first day without trouble, Percy sighed. Young woman, chucking broccoli at teachers is a sign of disrespect, and therefore punishable. Get in my office this instant. I grumbled and followed her. Excuse me, I didn't throw the broccoli. That was Percy. And now Percy's just gonna let me take the fall? Percy does not like me. Friends since the second grade? I don't think so. I think acquaintances since the second grade. I sat into the red chair in front of her desk, so I was absorbed by this chair. She paced around the room, pondering if I should get detention or not. Finally, after the bell had rung, she turned to me. Detention after school. Get to class. Okay, so that was a really pointless scene because she took me to her office and then just paced back and forth. So I would have just been sitting in the principal's office like this, inside the chair. I hastily got out and pulled out my schedule. Room 214, learning German with... I grunted. This was going to be a long day. She takes out her schedule, sees one class, and is like, oh my God. I didn't know this at the time, but it was going to be the only normal day I was going to have for a while. Chapter 2, we almost get killed by bird woman. It all started during third period. Science. Mr. Schul was droning on Mr. Schul was dreading on about sunspots and solar fusions and stuff like that. Imagine he is dreading on. He's like, there is this huge hole in the sun right now. It's probably gonna take us out in like 4 years. And I am dreadful for it. I started zoning out. Miss Anderson, perhaps you'd like to answer that one for me? I could hear the evil grin coating his voice. The sun? Could you imagine if she was right? He's like, holy shit, she's a genius. I've been teaching this course for 20 years, and no one has ever gotten the right answer to that question. Why is day not night? The sun. Miss Anderson, I think you should seriously consider joining the science team. And then it just takes a complete turn. Percy Jackson is out of it. It's an uplifting story about a troubled girl becoming a renowned scientist. He chuckled, shifting in his seat. Nice try. Next time, pay attention instead of going to La La Land. I slumped and nodded, trying to seem like I was now full alert. She slumped and nodded, trying to seem like she was full alert. Then it exploded. The wall, actually. The whole room gasped. There, standing a few feet away from me, was the most terrifying creature I have ever seen. Its stringy hair stood abroad its head. Abroad. It's in Costa Rica or something. The face appeared as a human, crumpled and wrinkled and extremely paled, but still human. Okay. She just said the face seemed human. A really, really ugly, disgusting, deformed human, but a human nonetheless. But rest presumed a form as a vulture. Who's this psycho running a bulldozer into class? Someone screeched. Bulldozer? Obviously that thing was anything but a bulldozer. Yeah, I mean, you could claim that thing was anything, but a bulldozer? Nah, that thing is anything but a bulldozer. Okay, so a little context here. In Percy Jackson, they have this thing called the mist that basically shields mortals from seeing monsters for what they truly are. So for instance, if Bird Woman knocked down a wall, you'd see it as just a bulldozer. I sneaked a peek at Percy. Just a little sneak peek, not the full thing. He was staring wide-eyed at the thing, mouthing something like, A monster? Jared appeared right in front of the table. I gripped Percy and him and rushed for the door, and we ran as I slammed the door shut. They broke it easily and flew towards us. Do you think because these bird women are like chasing after them, do you think the other students are like watching this bulldozer book it and like drive through the school chasing after these kids? I continued down the flight of stairs, out the door, and through the sidewalks. Percy just followed obediently with me. He didn't want to object. What is Percy doing? This guy has been fighting monsters since he was 12 years old. And a monster comes and he's like, monster? And then I just take him and I grab him. I'm the hero of this story. Jared would stumble every few steps. I had never examined his walking before, but it seemed sort of crippled, if that was the right word. No, I don't think that's the right word. Go back to thesaurus.com, pick a different synonym. He started shouting directions at me as he peered back anxiously. Turn left, turn right, go there, not your right, my right. My brain tried to process the words as my feet stumbled through the ground, so now her feet are physically through the ground. She's slipping into chairs, she's running through sidewalks, she's like an NPC that's glitching, trying to not fall into the back rooms. The whole desert scrub surrounding only lasted for a few blocks. Eventually it started to turn back to normal vegetation. Jared shouted, "There! Into that forest!" I didn't object. I rushed through the forest. Finally he screeched, "Stop!" Then quickly added, "I think we lost them." "That wasn't a bulldozer. You saw that too?" I asked Percy. Slowly he nodded. At least I thought I saw him nod. What do you mean you thought you saw him nod? It's a pretty distinct motion to make. How slowly is he nodding? Okay, I think that was a yes. Then I noticed Jared had disappeared. I didn't feel like shouting, "Jared," out in the middle of emptiness. They just lost one of their friends. And she's like, I don't feel like shouting. A deep, scratched voice muttered aloud, "Thank you, Jared. You have brought him here successfully." Author's note. What do you think? This is my first fanfic. That's a lie. I was just insecure about this fanfiction, I guess. And I was like, if anyone's mean to me, I'm just gonna say it's my first time writing a fanfic. It's my first time actually writing ever. I just learned to read 2 days ago. Chapter 3. Jared has hoofs? I squinted, trying to see past the fog, coating us. I really love the word coating. I could make out 2 shadow figurines. They didn't appear exactly human, as if hunched down, with 2 pointy triangles at the edges of the figure. Wolves. I didn't know how I knew. I could just sense it. You didn't know how you knew that it was wolves? Maybe because it's a hunched down figure with pointy ears. I have no idea what that could be. Wait, I'm getting a psychic feeling. Those are wolves. They're howling. Any other day I would have pushed away the thought of evil talking wolves. It was insane. But today it seemed like the only believable thing. The only believable thing? Believable, sure. I'll give you that. The only believable thing? In an instant, the figures jumped forward. Next thing I knew, I was face to teeth with the creatures. Then they leaped again, but this time, straight head for me. Then something interfered. No, not something, but a sword. And Percy was holding it. He looked shocked as well, but he continued fighting. He's shocked too. He's like, even though this is the one action I've taken this entire story, I don't even know how it happened. My body's kind of moving. It's reflexes. It's the ADHD. Percy had them mostly down. There was only one left, on the top of a boulder. Then the sword did something unbelievable. It turned into a pen.
This is a pen.
Percy looked panicked again and was desperately trembling for the button. Where's the button on this thing? I rushed, picking up a giant rock. It felt like I was loading 10 pounds. 10 pounds? That's gonna be like a pebble to that wolf. I lifted it up above the wolf's head. Then I let go. She's either moving at the speed of Sonic, or this wolf has terrible reaction time because he's about to lunge at her and then she runs off, grabs a rock, goes right up to him and drops it on his head. He had so much time to react to that, but he was just sitting there like, grr, I'm gonna get ya. I'm gonna get ya. At least I think I'm gonna get you. I can't really see in this mist, so I think that's you, or it might also be a very large rock. I heard rustling from behind me and flipped around. Jared followed the wolf and came out from the shadows. He looked normal, same messed up hair and annoying grin. I must hate Jared. I was like, he looked normal, which is to say he looked annoying and irritating. And also like a big old slob, but he didn't have pants on. Whoa! I didn't know it was this type of fanfic. He had hoofs. Oh, he was half goat. Duh. I gasped. Jared, you're a satire. That line should have gone to Percy. Percy is just sitting there, standing like... He's not just out of character, he's out of character. There is nothing there. I am not a satire. I'm a fawn. He grunted, then started to trot off into the shadows again. He peeked his head out momentarily, then motioned for me and Percy to follow him. Was I mistaken? Jared, who was a fawn, didn't know what that was. He just told you. Had led us into a trap with bloodthirsty wolves nearly killing us, and now he wanted us to follow him? Yeah, that's literally what's going on. I couldn't talk to the wolves, but I felt the strength to talk to Jared. She hates Jared. It takes her strength to talk to Jared. She has to mentally brace herself every time he opens his mouth. What's going on? I asked him as we trudged forward. Listen, do you believe in gods and Roman mythology? I thought for a moment. No, of course not. Well, do you believe in me? Imagine she's like, no, I kind of always thought you were gonna be a dropout. I hesitated. But God is real, not that crazy mythology stuff. He shrugged. Look, the gods are real. About God, I have no clue. There's a little bit of the Christian in me coming out there. Okay, I know I'm writing this story about Greek mythology, but I just gotta confirm. I'm still a Christian. God still exists. One God. Jared stumbled a bit, then continued. I just felt the need to Jared tripped and boinked on his face. And then we continued. We're here. To the left was a sea. There was a tiny beach at the north corner. Oh, so now we're at a beach. We've gone through so many different climates, all within a few blocks of one another. In the giant fields, kids were fighting against each other. Blood was shed all over. It looked like a battlefield. It should be blood shed was all over, not blood was shed all over. That makes it sound like you shed blood, which is horrifying. Jared spoke up as we walked through it. Swords brushed me, but didn't scratch me at all. How close are they getting to these kids fighting? That they're being hit by swords. Jared's trying to give his speech. He's like, oh, fuck. So you see, newcomers stay in the, God! Newcomers stay in the cabins over, oh, that one hurt. That one really hurt. I think I'm shedding blood all over. You see, newcomers stay in the unclaimed cabin until they're claimed. Then they go to their cabin based off their godly parent. He turned to me. I have no clue where you're gonna go. Before I could say anything, Jared was wobbling off somewhere else. Wobbling? The swords really did get him. He's like, now if you'll excuse me. Ugh, I gotta get to the hospital. Ugh. Can you believe this? I asked Percy. He nodded, but didn't say anything. He was dead silent. Dead silent? Did the swords get him too? Imagine he's just literally lying on the floor dead. I don't think she would be able to tell, because he's always sort of just this blank-eyed, silent body. Blankly, he walked off to the cabin Jared had pointed out. Hastily, I followed him. Dang, that's so cold. He straight up ignored her and then just walked off. Can you believe this? Before we could enter, a voice interfered with us. Welcome to Camp Roman. I'm Rena. And Finn. I wrote it at 9 p.m., so I'm a little tired. That's past my bedtime. It's a school night, and that also implies I don't revise these at all. I'm just type, submit. I have to apologize for this chapter because some things might be a little off. I haven't read Percy Jackson in a while. Oh, and also for the lack of Percy. He'll be in the next chapter more, I promise. And I never wrote a next chapter, so I dodged a bullet with that one. Now that I've read the fanfic for you, let's read some of these glowing reviews that I was getting that was motivating me to move forward. La 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 la. Yeah, that one always meant a lot to me. I still, when I'm having a tough day writing, I still think about what Reese's Peanut Butter Cup wrote. It could be a real PGO book. I ate this comment up. I thought about this comment every day. The delusion this comment gave me. There's nothing going on between Percy and Mackenzie, is there? That would totally kill Percabeth. Oh yeah, there's nothing going on. Literally nothing. I know that I said that was the last chapter I wrote. However, boy do I have a treat for you guys today. I found the ending that I wrote of this story. No, this title was not clickbait. The ending of the book, as if it's published, the ending of this fan fiction is us breaking up. To clarify what I'm about to read, once they drink this potion, it's going to give them back their real memories and they're gonna forget all about each other. And they have to do this to save the world. Why? No idea. I did not get that far. This is a part of me that stays between us. This is for my Kens exclusively. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. and then continue watching. I don't know if I can read this. This is so, I don't even know if this could go in the video. I have to mentally prepare myself. I have to strengthen my mind. He leaned towards me. I could feel his steady breath pat against my ear. He gulped and whispered to me, "I love you." No one is forcing me to do this. I'm forcing myself to do this for no reason. Feelings stirred inside me. Sadness just dwelled upon I stood there for a moment, taking in his presence. I knew I'd never remember this. I'd never remember his amazing sea green eyes that reflect the ocean. Well, are they sea green or are they ocean? His silky black hair and his amazing personality. Girl, what personality? The ability to take life so lovely and lightly. His kindness and braveness. He's demonstrated none of that. He's not been kind to her. And he's also not been brave. Like, the only times he's ever stood up, he was confused. I loved Percy Jackson. Then I thought about Annabeth. I hated her. Slowly I whispered back, "I do too. I love you too." He nodded and backed away. Relief rushed through me. Relief? He backed away and I was like, oh my God. He was getting a little too close there. I was getting a little afraid that he was gonna like kiss me or something. Ew. And at that moment, we both gulped down the potion and everything went black. So yeah, that was the story. Sorry, I know it was bad. I wrote it at like 9 o'clock and I was really tired. Let me know in the comments, have you ever written self-insert fanfic? I need to feel like I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. I know some of you out there did. Or did you read self-insert fanfiction? Or if you don't want to answer any of those questions, wait until the end screen where I will present you with a different question. As always, question of the video. No one ever answers it. Why is that? Why you guys just don't wanna watch the little skeleton guy dance? He performs every video for you guys and no one sticks around. To be a skeleton is to perform. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to join the Kens. Kens, I hope you have a great February and I hope you had a happy new year. All right, bye.